You made a call on my show a couple months ago that Bitcoin is heading to $200,000, I think, by the end of the year. I think you said. Are you still stick to that timeline? Bitcoin's down to 92,000.
By the end of 2025. I also made calls that Bitcoin would hit 100 by the end of 2024. Unfortunately, I was right about that, although it's bounced around at that level. But yeah, I do kind of think we'll see 200 on this particular cycle.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, Lawrence Lepard, Mark Moss, Bader Kaludi, and Nolan Bowrell dive deep into Bitcoin's transformative power. They'll explore its potential to prevent war financing, redefine financial sovereignty, and reshape global coordination. Let's catch them now.
Yeah, so the pitch is I want an average American or Canadian or really citizen of the world, but obviously I live in America, to be able to pick up my book and read it and say to themselves, oh, I now understand why, this economy is damaging me and what I need to do to protect myself. The inflation is really the problem of our age, and I think it will continue to be the problem of this decade, and it's gotten worse. And although it's abated a little bit right now, I think it's going to continue to get worse. And I think a lot of people don't really fully understand it. People in the financial markets might understand it, but the average citizen doesn't understand it. And so I wrote the book to try to educate the average citizen as to why it's the government and the government policies and the Federal Reserve that are creating inflation, and then to lay out a way that they can protect themselves and how we can fix this broken system. Because I think you would agree, and probably many of your listeners would agree, that the system is broken. It's really not working very well for a lot of people. Well, yes and no. I mean, I don't really comment much on Fed policy because I think almost by definition what they do is going to be wrong. But I can see why they have to say that, because some of the PPI numbers have been coming in hot. And so the Fed is really very much trapped, as I'm sure we'll discuss. And that is to say they would like to continue to cut rates because the federal government interest expense is out of control and creating larger and larger deficits. But in turn, the economy is doing okay and inflation is percolating back up. And so there's an argument that they can't cut rates, or they're going to have to increase rates. So they're really stuck between a rock and a hard place is the best way to look at it. I do. I mean, you see the inflation swaps are starting to show that. You also see the CME FedWatch site is showing that there's a 90% chance they are not going to cut rates at the next meeting. So yes, I mean, it appears to me that at a minimum, they're going to stay flat. I don't know if they're going to raise rates. I also thought, when you bring up Bowman, I also thought it was interesting that yesterday President Trump said interest rates are way too high and we need to get them lower. So I sense that there's a colossal clash setting up here between the Fed and Trump. And although Trump can't fire Powell, he can certainly make his life miserable by making a lot of noise about interest rates. And I'm guessing he probably will.
Bitcoin has rebounded above the $95,000 mark after experiencing a sharp plunge to $89,000 on Monday, marking its lowest point in nearly a month. This sudden dip came as traders anxiously awaited the latest U.S. Consumer Price Index (CPI) report, which is expected to influence market sentiment further. Despite this setback, Bitcoin's partial recovery signals the market's resilience and renewed investor confidence. The global cryptocurrency market also showed signs of stabilization after a volatile day that wiped out approximately $150 billion in value. The total market cap now stands at $3.29 trillion, highlighting the ongoing turbulence. Notably, trading activity surged by 127%, reaching $174 billion within 24 hours, reflecting the reactive nature of crypto investors. Amid this volatility, FRTCOIN emerged as a surprising outperformer, soaring by 42% in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, Ethereum struggled, dropping 3% to trade around $3,154. Despite Ethereum's bearish trajectory, other major cryptocurrencies like XRP and Solana displayed relative stability. XRP gained 0.5%, trading at $2.52, while Solana dipped slightly to $183, but remains a candidate for potential rally, according to market analysts. In a sign of sustained institutional interest, BlackRock recently launched a Bitcoin ETF on the Cboe Canada exchange, marking another step towards mainstream crypto adoption. However, Bitcoin ETFs saw significant outflows on Monday, totaling $313 million, with Fidelity leading the pack by withdrawing $113 million. These outflows could exert pressure on Bitcoin's price in the short term, but the broader market's recovery suggests that investor interest remains robust. As the market adjusts to these developments, Bitcoin's ability to maintain its position above $95,000 will be crucial. The crypto market's characteristic volatility continues to present both risks and opportunities, leaving investors closely watching the next move.
Yeah, sure. Just at a big picture level, the notion that you have a Federal Reserve Board of 12 people setting the most important price in the world, which is the price of money, the interest rate, nobody could do it, even if they were godlike in terms of their intelligence, and they're not. They couldn't do it. The interest rate should be set by supply and demand, the supply of capital savings as against the demand for investment savings. That's a market-based economy. I mean, what we've got is like a command and control communism-based economy. It's like the Russians setting the price of grain. And this is why the economy has swung back and forth between booms and busts and bubbles and crashes. The Fed, and when it's really tight, like under Volcker, it went as high as 20%. And then when it's really loose, like when the dot-com bubble burst or when the housing bubble burst, in particular, they took it down to 0%. So these interest rates are all over the map, and nobody can make intelligent long-term plans as a result of these, these mandarins that run the Fed setting the rates. I mean, they shouldn't be doing it. That's wrong. And the outcomes that we were getting as a result of it are causing a lot of pain for a lot of people, throughout the world, really. So we've got to return to a system based on sound money where interest rates get set at the price at which savings and investment, match one another. That's the fundamental thesis of the book. Well, they were set in the marketplace, and we did have free banking, and even before the Fed, I mean, they were set as the cost of capital, and capital at the time, true money, was gold or silver, underlying it all. Although there were exceptions to that, Lincoln printed greenbacks and so forth. But in the past they were set in the marketplace, but it's a little more complicated and tricky than that, because the banks had, the ability to do fractional reserve lending and lend out money that they didn't really have. And so that whole system in and of itself, led to a series of booms and busts, which was then actually used by the bankers to create the Fed. They claimed the Fed would dampen out these swings and provide a necessary backstop and wouldn't overstep its boundaries. And then, in fact, they did create the Fed in 1913. It immediately overstepped its boundaries and broke the rules in order to finance World War I. So, this is a problem that's been going on for some time, and it's there've been steps along the way that have accelerated it. Roosevelt accelerated it when he confiscated gold. Nixon accelerated it in '71 when he went off the gold standard. Bernanke accelerated it massively in '08 when he introduced ZIRP and QE, quantitative easing, and so. And with each step, it's gotten more and more unwieldy and more out of control. And the fundamental thesis of the book, the thesis of, my investments in general, is that they have to continue printing money or the system will collapse. And not only do they have to continue printing money, they have to continue printing money in ever-increasing measure, which is why, the COVID response was bigger than the GFC response, and the GFC response was bigger, the one before that, and so on and so forth. So, it's a system that's broken, David, and it's either going to get solved as a result of intelligent policy decisions, or it's going to eventually go over the cliff, and fiat's going to fail, which so many times in the past it has.
Bitcoin's recent dip to $89,280, its lowest since mid-November, has stirred both caution and opportunity in the crypto community. Amid this downturn, Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao, commonly known as CZ, has urged users to seize the moment, emphasizing the potential for long-term gains. In a tweet, CZ reflected on common regrets in the crypto space, such as missing past dips or selling too soon. His message, "Today is earlier than all the days to come," aims to inspire confidence in Bitcoin's enduring potential despite short-term volatility. currently trading at $94,889. Bitcoin shows signs of recovery, gaining 1.5% in the last 24 hours with a market cap of $1.87 trillion. However, the market faces headwinds, including substantial outflows from Bitcoin ETF, with $284 million withdrawn on Monday alone. Fidelity led the sales, contributing $113 million. Despite these challenges, CZ's call to action encourages investors to focus on the bigger picture. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Zella. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. I do not know why you have not subscribed yet. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.